So today's inspiration for the baby squishy actually came from this pen, which has been in my collection since 2008. This is a 2008 Sanrio Monkichi pen. I absolutely love the little monkey character, so I decided to make that the feature for today's video. I sketched this out using a really lightweight kind of like pencil. It's just a really light one, and I just sketched it out really lightly, like I said, and then I went in and coloured it in. So I used my acrylic paint markers to do this, but first of all, obviously I had to get the base down. So I drew out the monkey, then I drew a pencil pen outline. I made it quite nice and chunky because obviously it had to be stuffed to turn it into a squishy. Once I'd got my outline done, it was then time to colour this in. I used my Uhuhu acrylic markers. I got gifted these a while ago, so I'll leave them linked down in the description if you want to check them out. They're really good. You've got thick ones and thin ones in there, and a ton of colours. So I just chose my colours. I decided to go for a pink pen/pencil design, and that worked out really well. I really love the colours of these actually. I think it looks so nice. So one layer of that done, I then decided to add the word squishy along the centre of the pen design because I felt like that added a bit more decoration rather than leaving it plain. And I just went to town really colouring in my design, just making it nice and cute and vibrant and smooth looking. This is probably why I really like using acrylic markers at the moment for my paper squishies, because it doesn't leave those pen marks, you know, that you get sometimes with pens like water-based pens. Or I suppose alcohol markers don't do a bad job. Maybe the next one I use alcohol markers. Anyway, moving on. So once I had got my design finished and done, I then moved on to actually turning this into a squishy. So I needed to obviously have a front and a back piece for this, so I just folded over my paper and cut the shape out. This did take a little bit of time, I'm not gonna lie, because obviously I had to get right around all the little monkeys details on there. But anyway, once it was cut out, I was then able to tape it together. Now I am lazy. I don't like colouring in the backs of my paper squishies. I just don't. I think it's a waste of time, and I think it's a waste of my pens. So if you want to colour in the back of yours, you're more than welcome to do so, but I just don't bother. So I mean, don't judge me there. It is what it is. To turn this into a working pen squishy, I actually took the inside of a pen I have kicking around, and I just removed that and taped that down the centre so that the pen was actually sticking out the bottom of it. And then I just started taping it up like I would usually a paper squishy, just around that pen. So taking some tape, I started off down at the point. I made sure to go around the pen nib that was pointing out, and I just taped down the sides. Now because this is quite a long thin squishy, every piece of tape that I stuck down, I then added in a little bit of stuffing. I then taped again, added in a little bit of stuffing, taped again, added in a little bit of stuffing. So obviously when it comes to the more complicated parts at the top, you do need to take your time in making little slits so that you can lay down your tape nice and flat around the edges and onto the back of the paper squishy. You don't want it to be bulky, you don't want it to be all like tangled up and just looking bad. So just take your time with this, create little slits, probably around about 1/2 centimetre at a time, and just keep folding those back one by one, stuffing as you go. You want to make sure that your whole thing is stuffed completely. I stuffed mine all the way to the top and then just did one final layer of the tape on there to make sure everything was secured and just into place. So once it was all taped up, my paper squishy was obviously then complete. This is how mine turned out. Obviously we ignore the back because, like I said, I am lazy. I don't like doing that. But the paper squishy itself turned out really nicely. I really love the little kind of monkey character on there, and now I can just keep that in my mind forever whilst I get rid of the base of the pen. I think I'm going to cut off the charm actually, even though the pen doesn't work. I think I could do something with that little charm on top, so that's always fun. Obviously the paper squishy obviously works by itself, the pen does, or I could just replace the pen in the pen, I suppose. But yeah, really like how this turned out. Anyway, if you have any requests, then please do leave them down below. I will pin and give you a shout out if I make yours. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you very soon for another one. Bye.